LinkedIn Live, baby. This is where we're at.
LinkedIn Live, baby.
We're live.
Frank
We
and
are
David.
live.
Joe, are we gonna hear a few bars or what?
Yeah. You ready for it?
We're
Let
ready.
me see
Let's
you
turn
guys
it up a
move
little
with
bit.
it. You guys have to move with it.
All right, we're
Let's do it. Let's do
Let
it.
me tell you my story. It's a rap. It won't be boring. If you
Yeah.
got 3 minutes, give me a boom. Give me a boom. Give me a
Oh.
boom. Now I'm getting
Boom.
all these invites. Come to Clubhouse Joe. Ain't got an iPhone, so I said no. But the invites are coming 3 a day. I said, that's it. Let's jump in and play. Now I hopped into my car and I went to the store. Picked up an iPhone, Verizon for sure. Sure, it's refurbished. Even though I'm not an Apple fan, got a new plan that's long-term kind of man.
Love it. First of all, Joe, thank you for coming, man. Thank you for coming. I know we met a while back, and you're just an awesome person. You're inspiring people. We love seeing you on LinkedIn. We love seeing you rap, and
Thank you.
So, it's such a pleasure to have you here, man.
Thank you. So I am so excited to see you guys together in a room with a fearless sign behind you. It's exciting to be chatting with you guys today. So I'm looking forward to the conversation.
So this is our first podcast where me and David are in the same room. We had a few meetings today, so like we're trying to get like adjusted to the camera and everything, but whatever. Showing up, we made it. That's what's important. And I'll let David ask a few questions because I know David is a fan. I'm a fan, and I'll let him take over a little bit.
So first of all, Joe, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you making the time, and thank you for obviously, when we have a regular guest, we have to come up with a topic. With you, I was like, give me a topic. 10 seconds later, you have something ready. You have the content ready to go. And obviously today's topic, Frank, where's that little bar? Tagline, moving the topic. You got to get that going.
I can read off the topic if you want. How to market your business without advertising.
Correct.
Wow. How do we even get started with that?
First of all, I don't know if you guys know this, but I actually wrote a book. My team was like, Joe, we need to come up with a podcast. Could you come up with a few ideas? So I wrote a table of contents of what I would want the podcast to be. And then until they got the whole podcast together, I already had published a book. So, the key is to first understand what is your business and what is advertising. Because people talk about, I want to market my business, but then I ask them how much money they want to make, and they say, I want to make as much money as possible. What do you tell a client? And both of you speak to clients. What do you tell a client when they say, I want to make as much as possible? What do you tell them?
You want to take a laugh? You want to take a laugh at it?
You can go for it.
Because so when customers ask me that, it's like my type of business, right? And I'll let you say it's hard for me to determine a guarantee on like how much the return can be, right? So I do have customers that say, hey, we want to hire you, and we want to make unlimited money, but when I respond to that is like, listen, there's nothing that can, whatever worked for somebody else, no matter how successfully it was, doesn't necessarily mean it will work out for you. So I have a different approach towards that, and I always try to like deviate a little bit from that type of question.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to figure out, okay, you know what? Forget about how much money you want to spend. Forget about your ROI. Just tell me how much money you want to make in your business. Forget about, what you're going to spend. And most people have a hard time coming up with that number because their number really in their head is as much as possible. And if you don't have a goal, they say a man without a goal is like a ship without a rudder. It's going to float around, but eventually it's going to hit the rocks. So why would you want to hit the rocks? Why don't you come up with figuring out, okay, what's my revenue goal for this year or for this quarter? And once you have a number, then you could say, all right, how am I going to market my business? How am I going to get to this number in order for me to be able to market myself? Because I don't want to necessarily invest in advertising. I want to use the organic reach. So there's different ways to get organic. So there's SEO, search engine optimization. There's Instagram, organic Instagram. There's organic Facebook, TikTok, Clubhouse. But the one platform that gets me the most business and the most reach organically, more than all the other platforms combined, is LinkedIn.
Wait a minute. I'm gonna combine. You said
combined. It gets me more business.
Yeah.
It gets me more traffic. It gets me more awareness, more opportunities than all the other social platforms combined organically, not paid. With paid, Facebook is better. Google is better. YouTube is better. But organically without paying for advertising. Specifically, it's LinkedIn, and that's why you guys see me investing so much time and effort and energy in LinkedIn. And I have tens of thousands of people that see my stuff. Many of them, they're not even connected to me.
Crazy.
I have people that get on the phone with me all the time. They're not even connected to me.
I was first exposed to you on LinkedIn, just to give you a little bit of feedback. The first time I met you was at one of your meetups. For all those of you, Frank, you know about those meetups.
Yeah.
You should just know. I've been spending a little bit of time on LinkedIn, and I talked to a nice amount of people, and everyone has been to one of those things. Everyone's like,
events,
I went to one of those Joe Apfelbaum events, and it was great and everything. And honestly, I don't know when you're having one next, but please let me know, because we need more of those already.
We're bringing an entourage, first of all.
But I want to actually ask you a couple questions about how you started and how, because I know of you from these events. I know of you from LinkedIn. What was your start on LinkedIn? What was the first social platform you were on? Was it LinkedIn?
No, it was not.
Okay. And then I guess tell me what your first social platform was. And then I want to know about your start on LinkedIn, because I have some thoughts about my start on LinkedIn. I feel like there's a very big, people who try it and don't really get it and don't realize that you actually need to show up a lot before you can actually get anything back. So yeah, please answer those questions. I want to kind of take it back a little bit for anybody who doesn't know where, your origin story, let's call it.
Yeah. So for those that are listening here live, I see we have a handful of people that are live now. And for those watching the replay, by the way, smash the like button. If you're watching this live, give it a like. Even you, Frank and David, go ahead, give it a like from your phone or from your computer. And this way we see the likes moving up. I'm always curious to see how many people are actually going to give it a like. And of course, leave a comment with what your business is. What do you guys do for a living? So this will give you guys an opportunity for you to promote yourself in this video right now, but it also put the video better out there in the algorithm. As you can see, I already posted 7 different comments with 7 different calls to action on this video. We're live right now. So this is an example of the power of preparation. If you're prepared, you can see that it doesn't really take me time and effort and energy to write stuff up. Everything has been pre-written, and I've done this before. I get on about 100 podcasts a year. So I have a lot of experience with this. And my recommendation is for you guys to go ahead and like and write what you do for a living and leave a comment with that. So this way we can all see that. We can see that you're alive. I see now 6. It went from 1 like to 6 likes. So thank you. Now maybe change your like to a heart or a light bulb. I want to see all the lights light up. So I have a like and I have a round of applause. I want to see a heart or a light bulb there. So go ahead and do that. And this is an experiment for you to engage your audience in real time live. I see a light bulb now. That's great. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I was actually a no-name. Just like this is the No Name podcast. I was a no-name. I was a nobody. I was literally, nobody really knew me. And I still have that thing. I don't want people to know me. I don't want to go viral. I want 1,000 people to know me. I don't want everyone to know me. I don't want to be the known brand. I want to be able to walk down the street and have privacy and nobody walk over to me and say, "Oh, let's do a selfie." I don't need that. Right. I want 1,000 people to see me 1,000 times a year, and I want it to be strategic. And in order for me to do that, that's my goal. I tried with other platforms, but I didn't really get traction. I tried with Facebook. I tried with Twitter. Nothing really took off. But when Microsoft paid $26.2 billion for LinkedIn, they heavily invested with LinkedIn. I started paying more attention to LinkedIn. I had a LinkedIn account before, but it was mainly just to have a brand, take up the first 10 results on Google. When you search Joe Apfelbaum, I wanted it to be my website, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is, my YouTube channel. I wanted to own the first 3-4 pages for the word Joe Apfelbaum. And I'm not the only Joe Apfelbaum in the world. But if you search Google, I have thousands and thousands of results with YouTube videos and clips and tons of stuff that you'll see endlessly. If you take a look at the first 100, 200 to 500 results on Google for my name, you're going to see it's just infested with everything that I've done over the past decade to really put myself out there. But when I started my business, it was a side hustle. I think I told you, David, but it was really a side hustle. I had a full-time job. I was the CMO of thewatchery.com. I had a full-time job, and I was doing other stuff on the side. I had a little construction company. I would build sukkahs for people around the season. I had an IT business. I would do IT support. I had a chrentals.com where I would do Crown Heights rentals, and I have Shop de Schöne, and I had a little SEO company, and I had a little web design thing going, and I was buying stuff on Craigslist and selling it on eBay. And at the same time, I had a partner that wanted to open up some type of an agency with me. So I said, okay, let's do it. You know, we were good friends. We met, and then we became fast friends, and we said, you know what, let's work together. Let's do something together. So I came up with the name Ajax Union, and we said, all right, let's run with it. But business wasn't taking off. He had a full-time job. I had a full-time job. We were both busy. I had all my other side hustles, and I was making a good living. Then one day we met, I think it was like November of 2008, and we sat down, and I said, you know what, I think it's time for me to quit my job and do this full-time. If we're ever going to really build, because our dream was to build $1 million business. That's what we wanted to do. And he said, you know what, you're right. You have less kids than I do. At that point, I had 3 kids. He had 5, 6 kids, whatever. And I said, you know what, let me jump in. I'm going to quit my job. Okay. The next day he calls me up and he's like, Joe, please don't quit your job. I said, why? He's like, because I just got fired. I was like, okay, well, great. Now you can work full time. He's like, great. It's a blessing. So end of November, we're sitting in the conference room and we're like, all right, now you're working here full time. What are we going to offer? Now we really got to come up with an offer. We can't just randomly just say we're doing marketing. We need something. We need a product. We need to offer something. So something hit me, 3 o'clock in the morning. We're writing down every type of thing. All of a sudden, on the back of a napkin, I write a newbie plan. And he's like, what's that? I said, articles, blogs, classified ads, directories, $599 a month, month to month. You get all the work. It's transparent. It's SEO. It's this, it's that. He's like, it's stupid. No one's going to want to buy it. I was like, okay, well, do you have a better idea? He says, no, I don't have a better idea. I'm like, okay, well, so what do you suggest? He's like, go sell it. If you get 5 customers, we'll launch it Jan 1. I said, okay. In the meantime, try to get more business to do like business cards or whatever. We were just randomly doing stuff, you know, making business cards for people.
Yeah.
Anyway, I call up just 5 people that I knew, and they all said they were interested. They're like, SEO for $599 a month, I'm in. So I went over to my partner and I was like, I have 5 clients. Here are their numbers. Go sign them up. And that's it. So he signed them all up. And Jan 1, we started with 5 clients. February was a very difficult month. We were hustling and we weren't really closing any deals, but we had a product and we started to offer it to people. And then in March, I realized, you know, I'm still working full-time at the watchery. I need to hire a sales rep. Before I pay myself a salary, I need a full-time guy calling. So I walk into the synagogue and all of a sudden I see this guy and he's like, you know, do you know anybody that's looking to hire an entry-level sales guy? And I'm like, me? He's like, yeah, my son's looking for something. I was like, let me speak to him. So I spoke to him. He seemed like a shark. I said, let's go. You're working full-time for me. And all you need to do is make 100 phone calls every single day. And he's like, who should I call? I said, go to maps.google.com, type in LLC, press enter, and call. That's literally what I told him. And he did it. And then he's like, I ran out of all the LLCs. I type in Inc, I-N-C, and call. So he did that. All the little dots were lighting up on Google Maps, and he would click on it, call, click on it, call, click on it, call. And he would do 100 calls every day. He maybe closed 3 clients in March. But all of a sudden, April came along, and all the work they were doing in March and April, and the work my partner was doing, and the networking I was doing started to add up. And before you know it, at end of April came along, May came along, and all of a sudden we have 30 clients. And all of a sudden we need to hire employees. So we have like a few employees, a handful of employees working. And we're on pace to make $500,000 in revenue. And me and my partner have a conversation. He's like, Joe, it's time for you to come here full time. I need you full time. I was like, let me go speak to my mentor, my CEO. I always had a good relationship. Everybody was afraid of the CEO, but I was just walk into his office and talk to him. I was like, whatever. You want to fight? Like, you're not getting fired. He needs me. I'm managing 200 people.
Joe, at this time, were you active on LinkedIn yet? Were you still?
Zero LinkedIn. This was all cold calls. This was back in the day. LinkedIn wasn't relevant then. LinkedIn wasn't like, it was kind of like they maybe had 30 million members at that point, 50 million members. They didn't really have a lot of members.
Okay.
YouTube was all the rage then, and MySpace was still doing something, and like Foursquare, and like a bunch of garbage was coming up then, right? Twitter was big. Anyway, so I walk in and I sit down with him and I'm like, dude, what's going on? And he says, you're doing really well here. I'm really happy. And I said, right, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. I'm also very happy here, but we're going to be doing $500,000 in one of my side hustles. He's like, oh, how's your partner? And we're talking. And he's like, listen, it sounds like you got to work there full time. He's like, this is not good for me, but this is great for you. So he said, but I want to continue working with you. So he's like, my advice to you, if I was in I would go work full time for myself. But you know what? I want to be your biggest client. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. I gave him a big hug and I left, and that's it.
That's an amazing story, man.
Yeah. I started working full time. It was June 2009. I started working full time. He became my biggest client. And then from there, we just started just hustling and just calling and closing. And we were closing 10 deals every single month, then 15, then 20. And before you know it, we did $500,000, $1 million the next year. Then we did 2 million the following year. And then we hitting 500, and we were like, holy crap, we got to get to 4 million. And then at some point, just like it became impossible to keep customers. Wow. It literally became impossible. We were just like picking up 50 customers. I had 75 full-time employees, picking up customers and then losing customers. Picking up customers, and I started doing an analysis. Why are people leaving? We got to keep these customers. Well, it turns out when you pick up people, random companies, most companies go out of business between 3 and 5 years. And the more successful you make them, the faster they go out of business because they're not profitable. So the more you sell, the more you get screwed. So we were really good at getting people clients. The problem was they were going out of business because they were growing too quick. And the entrepreneurs were kind of like, oh, let me do something else. Let me do something else. So we weren't dealing with established companies. So I had to really change up. At the same time, I started networking on LinkedIn. And I said, I need a different type of client. I was networking off LinkedIn. I started networking on LinkedIn. And I was networking with this guy who was the president of Entrepreneurs Organization. And I really wanted to meet CEOs, right? I'm connected to now 11,000 CEOs on LinkedIn. So at that point, I didn't just pick them up in one day. I was been connecting for years. And so I said, let's go have breakfast. We sat down, we had a breakfast. And I said, what can I do for you? And he's like, I want to target hospitals in New Jersey. I said, I pay for Sales Genie and a few other lead programs. Let me make you a list of the 500 top hospitals that have more than 10,000 employees. And I'll give you the list with their contact information and their cell phone numbers and everything. He's like, you would do that for me? I was like, yeah, I have plenty of credits. Let me do it for you. So I got back to the office. I emailed him the thing. And then he emailed me back. He's like, that was so sweet of you. What can I do for you? Now, not everybody asks this question. But when the person asks the question, you have to have something ready. So I was very ready. I said, I'm looking to meet a director of sales at a company that is a serious company. And I didn't know revenue numbers. I was just like a serious company that's been around that has. He's like, you know what? Someone just came over to me. He's a good friend of mine. He's a director of sales at MakerBot. MakerBot. I said, oh, I heard of them. They do 3D printing. He's like, go speak to him. So I get on the phone with the guy. He's like, I usually don't take calls from anybody because I'm very busy. But if this guy tells me to speak to you, you have a good solution for me. This is my problem. I'm trying to get leads. We don't have enough leads. I said, my team will guarantee you be able to get you leads. No problem. He's like, okay, how much is it? I tell my partner, let's charge him a significant sum. Let's charge him more than we basically ever charged anybody ever. And so we came up with this, we had a hard time, but we came up with a really robust, big, juicy proposal. And at that point, it was $15,000 a month. That was a lot. $15,000 a month. We charging $599 a month. Our average client was like $2,000. You know, it was like, anyway, we send him the thing and he's like, all right, I'll do it. I'm not even going to check references. Sign. I'm signing. And I looked at my partner. I was like, did this just happen? He's like, yeah. He's like, whatever you did, go back on LinkedIn, go network, go build relationships, go get more of these.
Wow.
Within 3 months, we doubled their leads and they went from a $15,000 retainer a month to a $45,000 retainer a month. And they lasted for 2 years.
Wow.
That's my $1 million story from LinkedIn. And that was early on before I even knew and before Microsoft even paid $26.2 billion and made it into a content marketing platform. So I've been teaching LinkedIn for the past 10 years. And I have presentations from 10 years ago that I looked up. I was like, whoa, this is like, nothing. Like, oh, update your profile, connect with your friends, don't spam. That's all. There was nothing else. There was no posting. There was no engaging. There was no messaging. There was a few in-mail things, but they limited you, everyone. Now I send out sometimes 1,000 direct messages in one day. It works. You can do it from your profile. You have to learn how to do it in a way that because the algorithm will stop you from DMing after 50, but you have to figure out a workaround for that. And I have a workaround for it. So the key is to understand who your target market is. That's number one. And number two is offer them something that solves a specific problem for them. So the reason I was able to onboard so many customers is because my specific target market needed SEO. And SEO was all the rage then. So all I needed to do is hire a sales rep to make 100 calls a day. And before I even paid myself a salary, I hired a sales rep. And my mother did the opposite. And after 10 years, she went out of business. And for me, after 10 years, I'm scaling. This was 12 years ago. I started the business. So I learned a lot of things from my mother to do and a lot of things from my mother not to do. So that's where all the education that I got from books. And that's why I'm passionate about writing books and giving books out and offering books. So if you go to ajaxunion.com/book, you can get high energy marketing. The key is to understand that success, like major success, overnight success, is 10 years in the making. Nothing happens overnight. So if your business is like 250K in revenue and you want to get over the $1 million mark, you can do it. You just have to have a long-term approach. It's not going to happen in one day. The fastest growing companies in America don't suddenly just make $20 million without funding. Here you go. Here's $20 million. No network, no funding, no experience. It's just going to happen. Things don't happen just like that.
So Joe, I joined LinkedIn after you did. And I experienced something that I was referencing earlier before when I was asking you. When I came, I was like, my first post, for example, no traction, no anything. And then my good friend Frank over here was telling me, no, consistency is key. And there's a lot of people that say show up. Like, I guess the most famous maybe Gary V. Like always show up no matter what. Quantity over quality. That's a whole conversation in itself. But I found that when I started, coming on LinkedIn, I didn't necessarily see such a good result right away. And only after I was there for a little bit of time, maybe a month, 2 months, I don't know how long it was, I started to see, okay, wow, this is, first of all, you learn how to put out better content, and you learn, you get tips from everyone, and you continuously tweak everything you're doing and what you're putting out there, and your strategy even. That's all obviously evolving, but I think there's also a piece of it, in my opinion at least, from when I entered LinkedIn. And I guess that's what I'm asking you now. Are you saying, because it seems like from your story, you just came on LinkedIn and just killed it
No. I wouldn't say so. See, the thing is, for me, it wasn't that I came in on LinkedIn and killed it. Is I had a networking meeting with somebody and I followed up with that person and I knew what I needed and I added value first. The thing is, LinkedIn is just a tool. LinkedIn's not going to make you successful. Having networking meetings by using LinkedIn is going to make you successful. So if you come in and start posting and hope that you're going to make money, you're going to fail. I promise you. No one ever posted anything and closed the deal from posting. Again, I'll say this again. You're not going to close a big deal. You might close a $25 course, a $27 course. But if you post, hey, I do logos now. My name is Frank. Buy my logo now for $45,000. No one's doing that. No one's paying
for sure. I want to touch on this. You're so right. I'll tell you, look, I have closed deals from posting, right? But it's because I'm posting content. I'm documenting what I'm doing every day, right? So I'm not selling my service, but I'm showing.
Did you get on the phone with them before they closed?
I've had people close on directly from LinkedIn, never even speaking to me.
I've seen it.
Yeah, like
it's amazing.
But that doesn't happen every day, right? But I will tell you how I closed my biggest client to date on LinkedIn, and it was 6 figures. I put a post saying I'm giving out 10 free banners, right? 10 free banners for whoever posts first, and a whole bunch of people started commenting. I picked 10 people at random. I did their banner for free. I upgraded it, whatever it was. There was this one guy that never engaged in my content. He had about like 300 followers, and I did a banner for him, whatever. And 3 months down the road, he hired me at a 6-figure contract. So, I do believe a lot in giving. But most importantly, I was consistent, and this guy's been following me. And just because I didn't see him liking my post or commenting, right? Sometimes we get distracted by that, right? We get distracted by how many people are commenting, how many people are liking.
And you didn't get on the phone when he signed your agreement? He never even spoke to you? He just sent you a credit card?
This guy, yes. This guy, yes.
So my point, that's my point. My point is you got to get on the phone and have conversations with people.
Yeah, for sure. But
some people think is you just post and business comes.
No one's saying that. That's how you get the lead, and then you got to work the lead. That is my whole point. So I agree with you guys. I think we're both saying the same thing. I think people just think that if they post it on LinkedIn, there are many people out there that think that if you just post and you don't get on the phone with people, you don't go out with people, that you're going to close deals. And that I've never seen that happen for me.
So yeah, 100%. And Joe, this is going to sound crazy, and I tell the public this so much. My biggest business comes from having dinners. You know, I have a lot of
there
dinners.
You go. And that costs money too, right?
Yeah. And to me, it's like, instead of spending so much money in like advertising in certain areas, and me and David do this a lot, we'll invite a client to dinner, and the repeat business is crazy. It's crazy. It's like, all right, what am I going to do?
Agree.
It gets to a point where they're like, look, I'm going to look for something else that I need.
And that's why I do those networking events, because they turn.
We went to dinner with somebody. Yeah. We both got a call the next day, and they signed up with my service. They signed up with your service, and they said, when are we going to dinner?
Yeah, when are we going to dinner? Yeah,
I'm just saying, that doesn't happen every day, but that happened once.
And
right, yeah.
I don't know if he thought we were good at what we did, or if he thought we knew how to eat right.
Yeah, he liked to eat with you guys.
Yeah, no, that's. You're on a dinner with us for sure.
Yeah. On that note, Joe, when are we going to reserve cut or something?
Yeah. We want a date. We want a date after this podcast. As soon as we get off, we're gonna call you. We're gonna set up a date. But I'll tell you this, Joe. My first LinkedIn client came from your event.
Oh wow.
Your events in Dumbo, and that's when I was like, chill. LinkedIn really works. Right. That's why I was like, all right, this is because in the beginning you think it's nonsense, you think there's a lot of BS going around, and you're like, once you sign that first client, it's like, all right, this is not a joke, right? And because of that, it kept me going and it kept me pushing. But I do have to ask you this, John. We're busy, right? We're running a business, and I know a lot of people ask you this. Where the heck do you find time to create all this content and post? And I know this is a question that a lot of people have, and I want to ask you because you wear multiple hats. How the heck? I see you on Clubhouse. I see you here. And I'm like, how do you do it, man? Because I know you're busy. So how do you separate time?
Yeah. I mean, the most important thing is to recognize that me and you, Frank, me and you, David, we both have the same 24 hours in the day. That's number one. You have to recognize that. So just like Warren Buffett has 24 hours, I have 24 hours, and you have 24 hours. So we have the same thing. So it's not that I'm not finding time. I'm just prioritizing differently. Right. So the way that I prioritize my time is, number one, the first and most important thing is called self-care. That's number one. Making sure that you're taking care of the things that will make you feel whole and complete and alive and free and open and available and creative. And so many people sacrifice their self-care just to try to make money. So running, I don't know if you guys know this, but running is very important to me.
I see I see your running.
We know it all, man. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so meditating, journaling, eating right, drinking enough water, taking care of myself, going to acupuncture, getting a massage, whatever it is, making sure that you're taking care of your well-being is extremely important. So I make time for that first. I don't even look at my email or turn on my phone.
Spending time with family, yeah, for sure. Kids.
That's something that works for me.
But that's not self-care necessarily. Self-care is taking care of yourself. The second component is
mentally. I'm saying it makes you feel good. It's
exactly. The second thing.
Go ahead. No, finish.
I was just answering your question, but if you want to ask another.
No, this is great. I have another one.
Is the answer going slow? I can make a punch here.
No, you're good. I love it. I want you to finish. What's the second?
Okay. The second thing is making sure that I prioritize the people that matter in my life. Like you guys said, family, making sure that I prioritize my parents, I prioritize my kids, my siblings. I prioritize the people that, at the end of the day, if you don't prioritize your partner, your people, your family, your kids and all that stuff, that's they'll always be there. And a lot of people sacrifice that as well. And I used to sacrifice that early in my business, but now I prioritize that number one. So even if I'm on a business call, if my son calls me, I'll ask the business call to go on hold and I'll pick up my son. I'll try to keep it short, but I will give him the attention if he needs my attention.
I
So
love that.
that's a big priority for me. Like if I'm doing a Zoom call and my kids jump in, I'll just involve them in the Zoom call instead of yelling at them.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'll sit them on my lap and I'll be like, this is the center of attention right now. And I'll use it. And then the kid will get bored and then the kid will just go and they'll continue. And everyone will think it's adorable. It's fine.
I love it, man. I wish to be able to do that as well one day.
Yeah. And then figuring out there are two different types of time. I just posted an article on LinkedIn. You guys could check it out. I'll put a link by it in the comments about the 4 books that impacted me a lot in my life. And one of the books is called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Yep. And this is a very powerful book. And the first habit is be proactive. So there's time that you have that you can prioritize as proactive time. And there's time that you have that is reactive time. So me being on this is reactive. I don't have to do anything. You invited me, you pushed me to come. It was great, like amazing, right? So I'm being reactive right now. But this is not part of my proactive time. My proactive time is posting, engaging, and messaging every single day for 15 minutes a day. What I teach to our students in the Evergreen networking system is having proactive time to get exposure, credibility, and have conversations before the day begins. So before I do anything, I have it on my calendar. It pops up. It gives me a checklist of what I need to do. And I myself will create. I love creating. I love writing. So it's part of my creative process. So, and I didn't always like doing it. I started liking to do it. But now often I don't have to necessarily come up with something new because I've already posted so many things in the past. I just have to repurpose something that I've done in the past and share it. And people love it. People love it. I have over 5,000 posts on LinkedIn. And they're not all unique. They don't have to be all unique. You can have 50 unique posts and that's enough. And so once you create your library, we give our students a library of content. We give them a content calendar and systems and processes for pulling content out of your head and onto paper. Once you have the framework, you save a lot of time. So posting and engaging, I know who I want to engage with. I have a community of people that I want to engage with. And those are the people that pop up in the group messages. You guys are part of some of those group messages, and I support those posts. I check out who looked at my profile. I send a few messages to new connections, and then I move on with my day. That was my proactive time. I also have an assistant that helps me out to do things at a much higher scale, like the reviewing my messages to look for clients, the reviewing who looked at my profile more extensively and sending out connection requests, and my follower list and sending out connection requests, and trying to get people on the phone that might be prospects.
I have one to add also. I remember one time, I'm the type that I'll like something if I like it, and if I don't like it, I won't like it. I'll just move on. So if I like it, like that means like I actually read it and understood it, and I agree with it even. So one time I remember I liked one of your posts, and you're, I think, the only person that ever sent me a message and said, "Thank you for your engagement, David." And you said my name and the thing. Even if you had that assistant doing that, the fact that you're doing that, I mean, I've never seen that on LinkedIn. I've never seen that on any social platform. And I guess that's my next question for you, which is basically, do you have any tips for somebody who's established on LinkedIn, somebody who's posting or who's giving us 15 minutes a day? Do you have anything like something that someone can take away as far as, because I get a lot of messages and I get a lot of requests these days. So now I have a waiting list of requests that I'm not sure. I don't even know when I'm going to look through them. And then I have messages that if the message is like very intriguing, I'll respond even. And I glance at everything, but most things just, okay, I'm not looking for that, and I move on. So do you have any tips, anything that you can, from your experience of that end of things, like you're getting requests, you're getting connections, and you want to know even, how to there's a flood of stuff. How do you know what's worth it? How do you know what's good? Do you just hire an assistant and respond to everything? Any notes you have on that?
Yeah,
I'm personally going to learn from this.
Yeah, of course. So if you have an established personal brand on LinkedIn and you're super busy and you're doing your proactive, you're posting, engaging, messaging, you're doing your stuff, but then you have stuff like, for example, connection requests, and that's what you were talking about when you said requests. Connection requests are coming in and people want to connect with you. How do you decide? I have over 1,000 people waiting to connect with me on LinkedIn. How do you decide who you should accept and who you should reject. This is a very popular question I get. So in order to make it really easy and not overwhelming, you have to create a connection strategy for yourself. And it could be mental. Just like when you're dating, I don't know if you guys are dating ever or whatever. I don't know, maybe you guys are both married or whatever, but for the people that are dating, there's a strategy. You have to first understand your requirements, then figure out your needs and your wants, and not just go out there and just date anybody, but know how to qualify. So a connection strategy will allow you to look at a profile right away and know, is this person I'm going to accept or reject? And you can do that in like 3 seconds. You can actually see and just decide quickly based on already knowing what your values are, already knowing who you. So for me, I'll give you my example of a connection strategy to keep it real simple. Number one, do I know this person? So if Frank sends me a connection request and I met him at a trade show, I know who he is. I'm going to accept it. Boom. No, not even a question. I'm just going to accept it. Number two is if I don't know this person, then I have to ask myself, do I want to know this person? So how do I determine if I want to know you? It's based on what is your headline? Do you have a photo? What country are you from? I mean, there's different factors. And I ask myself, can I do business with this person? Are they an ideal client, or does it look like they want to sell me something? If it looks like they want to sell me something and they haven't engaged with my content or anything, reject instantly. Just like, have a good day. I don't even know who you are or what. And especially if they're from a different country and it's obviously total spam. They just randomly hit connect to me. If they include a customized note, I'll look at the note, and if it's obvious that they want to sell me, of course I'll reject it. I'll take a screenshot of it and show it to my students, tell them what not to do. And if it's something that looks like super customized, like they say, hey, I saw you on Frank and David's show, and I'd love to connect with you here on LinkedIn. I thought what you said was really insightful. I'll usually connect with the person. And when somebody engages with my content, often I'll go look at their profile, and if I see they're pending to connect with me, I'll hit accept. So if somebody's a fan of my content and they're liking and commenting on my stuff, I'll definitely accept them. So that's kind of like how I know like what, and I always have about 1,000 people waiting to connect with me. So I do have to make time in my calendar to go through it, but I'm the one that has to decide that because I need to be strategic over there. I can't just let my admin doesn't know if I met you at a trade show or whatever it is. And often before I get on a call with somebody, I'll look at their LinkedIn profile, and if I see it's pending, I'll accept it, and that's it. But it's okay to leave things pending. What some people do is they reply to every single connection request, and they don't hit accept, they hit reply. And then in the reply, they'll send something saying, hey, I saw you connected with me on LinkedIn. Not sure if you're wanting to connect because you want to offer me something or you're looking for my services. If you are looking for my services, here's my Calendly. If you're looking to sell me something, I'm not looking to buy, but thank you very much. Please follow my content here, like and comment on this. And then whatever. They have like a templated reply that they give people, which is really interesting. So, you know, what I would tell you is really have a strategy for yourself, and then you'll save that, like, what should I do feeling. The other thing I want to say is, if you haven't tried out LinkedIn Polls, Polls,
oh boy,
it has been phenomenal for me. So that's something that you should definitely try out if you're fairly established. And the other piece of advice that I have for you is know who your connections are. If you haven't downloaded your connections and reviewed them, then you're missing out. You're missing out big time because they're.
Wait a minute. What do you mean download your connections?
So I don't know if you know this, but I tell this to all my students. If you go to me on LinkedIn from the computer and you click on settings, go ahead and do that.
Yeah, we're doing it right now. Hold on. Okay.
Now you see it says how LinkedIn uses your data. On the left side, data privacy, how LinkedIn uses your data.
Yeah.
Click on that, and then it says get a copy of your data.
Oh, wow.
Click on that, and then you see it says connections. Check the connections off and press download. And what this will do is it'll give you a CSV file, a comma-separated values file. Within 10 minutes, you'll refresh the page, and they'll have a download button. It'll come in a zip file. And now you'll have a list of every one of your connections, and you drag it into Google Docs. You open it up with a Google Sheets thing, and now you can start quickly going through and identifying, do I know this person? Do I not know this person? Are they a potential client? And you can just document notes next to each person, and all of a sudden, you're able to quickly identify who you recognize, who's strategic for your business, and who you actually can close as a client, who you could prioritize. And now you don't have to go after all your connections. You go after the ones in your spreadsheet. So if somebody disconnects from you or somebody changes their position, you still have the history on your spreadsheet. So I like downloading my connections at least once a month.
Wow. So I just did it, man. It's like,
awesome.
you see how you can always learn from somebody, man. It's crazy. It's like, I'm very active on LinkedIn. A lot of my clients come from LinkedIn. I got a lot of inbound leads, obviously, because I've been posting for a while and the consistency, but there's like these little hacks that you have. So Joe, before we let you go, I remember that you have something called the LinkedIn Blueprint.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It looks very similar to what you have in the back.
It's a little bit different. So this is our course right over here. This is our course, but the LinkedIn Authority Blueprint essentially is us creating a LinkedIn strategy for you. So if you need somebody to come in and do a LinkedIn strategy for you, you can go to ajaxunion.com/blueprint, and you can actually go there and see what we have to offer. Most people don't have a written strategy for LinkedIn, which means they don't know what they're going to be posting. They don't know what messages they're going to be sending their clients. They don't have that connections dashboard. We'll actually do that for you and create a whole dashboard for you.
Wow.
They don't have an optimized profile. So what we'll do is we'll send you a questionnaire, you'll fill it out, and then we'll do a strategy session with you where we'll determine the best stories, the best case studies, the best questions, the best posts, the best things coming out of you. We'll get to know your business really well within an hour, record it, transcribe it, take notes, and then prepare a 90-day content calendar, an asset library, a connections dashboard, messaging scripts, and we'll optimize your profile. And then after that, we can, manage your profile for you, or you can take the course and learn how to do it yourself.
I love it. We put your website down on the link. For those of you that don't know Joe, majority of us already know him.
Yeah.
Reach out, man.
There's nobody that doesn't know Joe.
Let's just say
everyone who knows Joe
and hasn't been reaching out. And sometimes people don't reach out. Reach out to him. There's so much knowledge to gain from him. I love your content, brother. I love you. I love having you here. This is one of my favorite podcasts.
100%. The content, the information that we got. We didn't have to do any work, and he's saying if this is your reactive, then I don't know what your proactive looks like. So
we'll have to follow him one day, man.
Thank you for your time, Joe. We appreciate it. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for all the knowledge you gave us.
My pleasure.
Thank you for all the
My pleasure.
And everybody, I guess, have a great day.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Take care,
brother.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.